Hi, my name is Dave Vass. I'm the owner and CEO of ConneXtion, and in this video presentation, I'm going to share with you how service providers like yourself can get local qualified leads at a fraction of the price of what it would typically cost you. Now, I've been helping local businesses in Calgary and surrounding cities in Canada for many, many years. I understand what it takes for a business to generate leads, what it costs them. So I've built ConneXtion to solve a major problem in the marketplace. The number one issue for service providers is that they need to find qualified leads at a fair price. I think you'll agree that at the end of the day, that's all that matters. From all my experience of dealing with small to medium businesses, it comes down to this. They need qualified leads at a fair price. Leads equals sales. So in the perfect scenario, the customer would have a direct line to you and it would be efficient and cost effective. But that hardly ever happens. The traditional method is far more complicated, inefficient, time consuming, and expensive, unfortunately. So typically, what will happen is the customer needs something done, or they want to call a business. So maybe they need roofing or plumbing or electrician or massage therapist or a chiropractor, whatever it is, any kind of service that they need. And they would go to Google, they'll type in, Calgary plumbers or Calgary roofers or painters or whatever. A whole bunch of businesses come up. They're unsure who to call. They start calling, each business as many as they can with how much time they have. Each time they call, they have to explain what they want, so it's really time consuming. They're unsure of the price, so they're trying to get multiple quotes, and it's just really a horrible experience for the customer. And for the service provider, they have to spend all this money to get the lead to call. So they have to hire an SEO company to get them to the first page of Google, or they have to buy an ad on Google. And it can be very costly because they're competing with all the other providers in their city. So it's not exactly cheap. They need to qualify the project and the users, so they have to spend the time on the phone and ask them questions and maybe even waste time and money visiting the unqualified users. So it's really not very efficient, and it can be really expensive. So how much does one lead typically cost? Well, since I've been doing this for so many years, I have a very good idea of what it would cost a local business owner. So pay-per-click advertising is one of the most cost-effective methods. So I wanted to use this because I really believe this is a very effective method, and it's really cost effective. So pay-per-click advertising is where you can buy an ad on Google and you only pay when somebody clicks on your ad. So this example I typed in Calgary roofers, and you can see the ads of the companies that paid, and these companies only pay when you click on their ad. So you usually pay anywhere from $4 to $10. I know actually firsthand. I have a roofer as a client, and it's right around the $8 to $10 range that they're paying per click. Now, for other things that are less competitive, it might be down to around $4 for plumbing. It's around $6 in Calgary. So you can get an idea that it's usually $4 to $10 a click. If your conversion rate is 10%, then it's going to cost you $40 to $100 for one lead. Now, 10% is a huge conversion rate. I'm being very generous. From all my experience in dealings with, I'm talking hundreds of businesses, I've found that the conversion rate, they're doing good if it's even 5%. But I'm being very generous for this example, and I'm saying if it's 10%, it's going to cost you $40 to $100 for one lead. Okay? So, with radio and newspaper, of course, I just wanted to compare it from my experience and seeing what businesses have done. It can cost thousands of dollars for one lead. And that's also if you do flyers, paying for flyers to be mailed out. So, pay per click, very cost effective, but you're still paying $40 to $100 a lead, and it's still an inefficient process. So our solution with Local Connection is quite simple. What we've done is allowed the customer to post their project with pictures and description and a title. It takes them minutes to do. They're going to receive bids from qualified service providers. Now, when I say bids, that's like a quote, right? So it's like an estimate. Now, they're already doing this. I'm not changing anything. See, what I'm doing is just saying this is what's already happening in the marketplace. So I'm just providing a way for this process to become more efficient. So customers already are making multiple calls. They're trying to get multiple bids or quotes. So basically, they just have to post their project once and they don't have to go through this. They can communicate with the service provider via the private message board. Everything's central in an admin panel, so they're organized. They can invite anybody to come and bid on the project, any service provider. Now, for the service provider, for yourself, you get to receive project details from a qualified customer. I can't emphasize this enough that this is a qualified customer, that you get to see the pictures, you can click on them, you can see what community they're from in Calgary or whatever city. You can respond to the bid. Usually we encourage you to respond as quickly as you can, and we'll talk about that later. It takes a minute to do. In order to bid, all you have to do is buy some credits, which allows you to bid and communicate with the customer, which is far cheaper than any other form of lead generation, which I'll talk about. And you get to negotiate directly with the customer as normal. You can also use the private message board, so everything again is organized. You don't lose track of your leads. Now, this process, like I said, is already taking place in the marketplace. What we've done is just totally made it way more efficient for both parties. And it levels the playing field, because as a service provider, if you're a small to medium business, you don't have to compete with those huge large companies that are able to spend tens of thousands of dollars in pay-per-click ads. You now have an equal playing field to actually put in a bid, to communicate with the customer, and to sell them on using your services. So if you're a good company, you're honest, you know you can get the job done, then you're going to do very well, which is usually, I find, that's most companies and businesses. So it's simple, fast, efficient, and inexpensive. So you're probably wondering, well, how does the credit system work? Well, it's quite simple, actually. One credit equals $5. So if there's any job that's posted that's under $1,000, so let's say somebody needs plumbing work done and they put their budget as $500 to $1,000, then it would cost one credit to bid and communicate with the customer on that project. If somebody posted a job or a project for $1,000 to $5,000, it costs 2 credits to bid and communicate. A job between 5 and 10,000 costs 3 credits, and anything over 10,000 is 4 credits. So if there's maybe a huge renovation project and the budget is going to be like $50,000 or 100,000, whatever, it's going to cost you 4 credits. So that's $20 to communicate and bid. So in other words, to get that lead. So how much does a qualified lead cost with Local Connection? It costs anywhere from $5 to $20. It's a set price. It's never going to cost you any more than that. And that $20 is only on projects that are over 10 grand. So you can compare that to $40 to $100, and that's if you have a 10% conversion rate. So you can see how much money you're saving. And not only are you saving money, I mean, we're talking about a qualified lead. We're talking about you get to see the pictures before you bid. You get to see the description. You get to see the community that this person's in. I mean, this is huge for you as a service provider. There's a massive advantage over using Local Connection, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper. So Local Connection, it's an easy to use website. I'm telling you, it only takes you minutes to register. We have it set up so that when you register as a service provider, that anytime somebody posts a project or job that's related to your service category, it will send you an email. So you don't even have to come back and check the site all the time. It'll actually send you an email telling you that there's a job that you can bid on. You can click on it, look at the pictures right from your mobile device if you want. So we've made it super easy for you to use. From all our years of experience, we understand what service providers need. It's a simple process for the customer. I mean, the customer literally just posts a project, takes them minutes to do. They receive bids, they communicate with you, the provider, they award the project. You guys negotiate as normal. We don't even get involved in the payment. You still, the customer pays you as normal, and the customer gets to leave reviews. So the customer maintains complete control. There's no annoying phone calls required. I mean, obviously, if you need to swing by their place to solidify your estimate, then that's fine. It's a simple process, and it encourages future posting. So it saves times, reduces stress, and costs little. Now, for you, the service provider, you receive a job posting. Now remember, the system does it automatically. You don't even need to check the site. The site will actually email you the job posting related to your service category. So if you're a plumber, when you sign up, you put your service category as plumbing, and anytime somebody posts a job in that category in that city, so if you're from Calgary, it will then email you that job. You basically click on it, look at the pictures, look at the community, and you decide if you're going to bid. Now, if you bid, you're going to use the credits. So if the job is under $1,000, it's one credit's $5 to bid and communicate. Boom, you have a qualified lead that you now get to do an estimate on, give a quote on what it would cost, and communicate with that person. So you get to negotiate as normal. There's a private message board. You can use that. It's all organized. Again, you pay as they get to pay you as normal. We don't get involved with that. We're just connecting you. And at the end of the day, you get to review all the data. And all I'm referring to that as the project prices, reviews, and stuff like that. It's all organized right there for you to see. So it takes less than a minute to respond. You get to deal with the customer, direct with the customer as normal. There's no real adjustment required. I cannot emphasize this enough. We are not changing anything in the marketplace. We're just taking what already is happening and making it way more efficient and cost effective. So the benefits for the service providers are that you get qualified leads at a fraction of the cost, highly desirable, no third parties, you get to deal direct with the customer, no change to the normal process. Again, I keep emphasizing that, but it's huge because this is what already happens. And I'm going to touch on something in a second. You get to operate exactly as you do now. There's a qualified buyer. There's less travel time because you get to see pictures and descriptions. So sometimes that'll save you a trip if it's not qualified. Gain market intelligence. Now, I just want to say as I end this presentation that I know that one of your questions might be, well, do I have to bid and compete with, if I'm a web designer or if I'm a roofer, am I going to have to bid against 50 other roofers in the city? No. What we've done to ensure a great experience for both the customer and the provider is we decided that the maximum amount of bids that the customer would probably want and that the provider would want to compete with is 15. Now, typically, it might not even be 15. There might only be 3 or 4 or 10. But the point is we put a maximum to it to ensure high quality, to ensure that you're not having to compete with a ton of other people to make sure that you actually have a chance. And we figure that in the marketplace, a customer typically would call, maybe a half a dozen to a dozen providers anyway. So the sooner you respond, the better, because after those 15 bids, the project is locked. Nobody else can bid. So you want to, right when you get that job, you want to respond. So local connection, connecting customers, the people in the marketplace looking for jobs to local quality service providers like yourself. So to join us, all you have to do is just go to local connection, click on the register, make sure you click on the service provider register. It's a blue link. And it takes you minutes to do. And once you're done, you're going to be set up, and we're going to advertise and get the leads for you. We're going to go out there and make sure that there's leads, people posting jobs that are coming in. So why don't you give it a try today? Thank you for watching this presentation.